I'm excited to do a podcast takeover today to speak with an amazing strategic storyteller and global marketing leader. She's incredibly creative, known for being collaborative, building world-class teams, and also happens to be a former co-worker of mine and now a great friend. Joining me today to get radically transparent in her role as Vice President of Corporate Marketing at Exabeam is Larissa Gaston. Larissa, welcome to the show. Are you ready to get radically transparent with me?
I am. Thanks for inviting me, and I wish we were in person.
Absolutely. Me too. I'd love to kick us off today with a brief look into your professional journey and how you found yourself at Exabeam.
Sure. So I went to the University of Texas in Austin. I spent the first 10 years or so of my career in Texas. I've primarily spent my career in tech, more than half of it in cybersecurity. So after UT, I found my way to Dallas and I got a job at a software reseller. And I was managing content there, did some other things, vendor management, marketing planning with software vendors. And then from there, I was recruited from the former head of marketing at the company who had moved on to start up an internet bank. I moved on to do that. So I was sort of a generalist marketer at that startup, three-person company or three-person spinoff from a larger bank. And that was my first taste of a real startup. It was great. I mean, literally naming the company, setting up the website, doing all the demand programs, PR. And I was partnered with a product marketing person there. So that was sort of a really good dip my toe into everything marketing. And from there I took a few different roles in internet marketing, digital marketing, some consulting, and eventually found my way to California. So packed up my cowboy boots, came out to California, and landed at a web conferencing company that competed with WebEx. And from there, I was doing customer marketing there. And then from there, I moved on to a real-time communications security company called FaceTime. And it's actually Apple bought the name of that company, and they ended up rebranding themselves. So at the time I worked there, it was FaceTime. And again, I was a generalist. I did demand gen, I managed the website, I did partner and field marketing. And events. And from there, I took a little departure and I went to VMware and I went into partner operations. I managed their MDF program, Market Development Funds program, everything from the actual program, like what you would spend the money on, to allocating funds to partners, managing the support of the program, building a team out to do that. But I really realized I missed marketing when I made that move. So I moved back into marketing, joining Centrify, which is where you and I met.
Of course.
Together. And I was focused on a partner and field marketing event role there. And I love Centrify. I had a great, obviously you and I worked together really well there. But when the time was just when I was ready for a new opportunity, I went to Imperva, another cybersecurity company. And Imperva, my first role at Imperva, I was working really I was marketing a product. So got to dip my toe into a little bit of product marketing, and then moved into a content marketing role and ultimately a customer marketing role before I was just sort of ready to get back into a high growth startup and then I jumped to Exabeam. And so I've been at Exabeam for about 3 years now, and I'm doing corporate marketing. So PR, social media, corporate events, website, brand, and customer advocacy. So.
Wow, that is quite the journey. just even from Texas to California, that's quite the journey.
Yeah. But
you still have the cowboy boots?
I do have the cowboy boots.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about Exabeam.
Exabeam is a global cybersecurity leader in next-gen SIEM and XDR. SIEM is security information and event management. XDR is extended detection and response. And we help security operations team use analytics and automation to solve threat detection, investigation, and response. So, you know, breaches are in the news everywhere. Exabeam is all about helping companies identify and respond to threats faster so they can make security success the norm, as we like to say.
Great, great. I mean, obviously, as a generalist, you've already sort of said you've done so many different things. And, you know, I know that most creative ideas come from kind of stressful situations. I'd love to hear from you about how you've experienced innovation in adversity in your career.
Yeah, I mean, you know, budgets get cut and all of a sudden you have to change plans midstream. It happens all the time. I can think of a couple of things. Probably the first would be, this is when I was at FaceTime. I mentioned that real-time communications startup company. We had bought a booth at RSA 20 by 20, and all of a sudden we needed to make some budget adjustments, and we have this space and we're not sure what to do with it. And after a little brainstorming, my colleagues and I decided to stage a protest against URL filtering fees at RSA. We offered a web security gateway. We were offering URL filtering for free. So we just went with sort of peace, love, FaceTime was our theme. And we created some low budget videos to promote our presence at the show leading up to it. Super, super fun. And we ended up making, even getting some media coverage off of it. You know, when RSA does their roundup of interesting booths to visit and what people are doing, we made the list of interesting booth ideas. So that was pretty fun.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you say you had your budget cut, you know, and you had this space, what are we talking about? You still had furniture, you had backdrops.
Literally, we're like, we didn't want to, we didn't have that much money to invest in building it out. There was no booth, literally.
Wow.
We got a monitor sound system because my colleague and I were, you know, leading the protest, and we got just like, you know, low seating inside the booth. And then all the people that were working the booth were literally carrying picket signs. And that was it. Super, completely outside of what people would expect to see on the show floor. So, you know, we really got a lot of people stopping by, listening to the presentation. It was great. That was really
fantastic.
Fun. Another example of, I don't know if I'd say this is low budget as much as just sort of creative and thinking on our feet. And we did this together at Centrify, right? We were asked to present about social media marketing or guerrilla marketing
yes,
at a SCO for Centrify. And so just to get, really just for the attention getting of the audience, right? We had sales audience sitting in this room for hours and hours. And so we asked our marketing ops colleague, Frank Ely, thank you, Frank, for wearing a gorilla costume during our presentation on guerrilla marketing and social media, social selling at SCO. So that wasn't exactly maybe related to your question, but a little bit on the innovation side of the house, and, you know, getting people's attention with not much. I mean, it cost us a gorilla team rental, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that was so last minute. I think we had about 4 hours to do that planning before the actual presentation. And I seem to remember you having a gorilla outfit suit in your hotel room for that particular event. But it worked. It definitely worked. And yeah, Frank was amazing at being in the audience and having his iPad and pretending to be, you know, live tweeting. Well, of course, you know, we created an account for that as well for him. So Centrify Gorilla, I think he was on Twitter. Yeah, that was really creative. So as marketing leaders, often our days are hectic. I'm going to ask you, what we love to ask people, which is what keeps you up at night professionally?
There's two things I would say, and they're related. The first would be just keeping up with the speed of business. Exabeam is a high growth startup. It doubled in size the first year. I've been at the company, and the pace just hasn't stopped. If anything, it's accelerated this past year with work from home and always being on. We have a big market opportunity ahead of us, and we have the gas all the way down, right? So I'm a big list builder, constantly making lists. My list making has gone to like next level, and I'm literally making lists in my head at night, right? I need to send that email. I need to check on that deadline? I need to remember to do this, do that, etc. But it's also just sort of, am I communicating fast enough? Am I cascading the information down to my team fast enough so that they have the information they need to do their job? Am I cascading it up fast enough? So I'm, making sure leadership is aware of what we're doing, and if we're switching gears or whatever. So that's probably the top of the list, speaking of a list. And then related to that would be just making sure my team feels supported. It's been, in a fast-paced environment, anytime can be taxing on a team. And then COVID, of course, sort of thrown a wrench into just people not feeling as connected and feeling isolated, and we're always on Zoom all the time, right? So not just making sure they're supported professionally, but personally. So yes, are they growing in their role? Do they feel like they're making an impact? But also, do they need a break because they've been on Zoom calls back to back for multiple days, right? So just checking in with people, tuning into how they're doing, and making sure they have the resources they need.
I can certainly relate to both of those points that keep you up at night professionally. I'm a big list writer as well, and I feel that I have lists everywhere, whether they're in my phone, on my notes on my laptop, whether in Trello, or whether I've actually got the physical piece of paper as well. So I totally understand that as well. And on the team side, I think one thing that's been great in the last sort of 12 months has been this focus on well-being and wellness, and it seems to be aiding the topic around mental health and the need for that, regardless of whether you have a particular illness or whether you just struggle with the sheer volume and the different situation with the whole pandemic and what that's done to people in terms of their work-life balance. So I definitely feel you on that. With things going in and out of lockdown and working from home, what are some of the habits that you're using to stay sane?
Well, I definitely have been walking a lot. When we first did lockdown, I'm a rower, so my standard form of exercise went out the window because we couldn't do that. So lots of walks in my neighborhood. I live at the top of a canyon, so I get to go downhill and then go up them. So that was, just clear your head, listen to music, listen to a podcast, just get away from your computer for a little while. And then of course, slowly we were able to start socializing with friends and that kind of thing. So that's been, just great. Even connecting with our colleagues, like my team got to start getting together and all of that. And then rowing recently started back. So been doing that for a few more months now. And, just feeling fit again and getting back into an exercise routine just makes all the difference for me mentally. So that's really, really what I've been focusing on.
Totally makes sense. I think it's great to be starting to reconnect with friends, family, and particularly colleagues. That face-to-face connection makes all the difference, I think, when you're trying to achieve certain goals, and you can hang out together and get that coffee and reconnect on a one-to-one level without worrying about it being a Zoom and your next meeting coming up. So that's great. Talking of rowing, I'd love to know how rowing has shaped the marketer that you are.
Rowing has been a huge teacher in my life across the board. So not just marketing. I would say it's informed so much about what leadership means to me and what teamwork means. So rowing, for people that have done it, it requires that every single person be completely in sync. And a lot of people say, oh, let's all get on this. It's sort of, not even marketing speak, just sort of teamwork, general teamwork. Oh, let's all get in the same boat and row together. Well, if you haven't done it, you kind of you literally are all have to do the same thing to precision, right? If somebody moves something a centimeter, the boat is off. It doesn't move as quickly, right? Everybody has to literally put the blades in at the right time, literally push off at the same time. And, so you just it just crystallized what it really means that everybody has to be on the same page, doing the same thing, and really on board with the person. And there's only one person who leads a boat. That's the stroke person in the front who's setting the pace for everybody. And you have to get on board with that. People say there's no I in team, but literally if everybody else was rowing their own stroke, we wouldn't be rowing. The boat would just tip over or stop, right? So that's just been it was just, a revelation of what leadership and teamwork really mean for pulling together. And the other is just for my own, this is really, of course I apply it to marketing, but really anything, just the discipline that's required. Being an athlete and training and the hard work, it's just been a teacher to me on what it really takes to achieve goals and do them together as a team.
I can definitely relate to that. I'm not very good at rowing, but I totally understand all of the disciplines and getting everybody to work at the same pace and that precision to make a team successful. So I understand that piece. I'm just not very good in a boat.
Oh, don't I didn't even know how to row. I mean, I just showed up. I learned at UT, and just showed up when they were recruiting new rowers, and I was like, I want to try this, and it stuck. Been doing it ever since.
I definitely admire you for that. So given that we have so much going on, both you and I, a lot of our peers, work is very, very busy. The tech world, the business world is moving at a tremendous pace, and that's been like that for years, and it clearly will continue to increase in speed. How do you stay up to date on the latest marketing trends?
It's a great question. I don't have one go-to place that, not one newsletter I read or one website I go to. I'd say my biggest source of information is talking to peers, talking to colleagues, former colleagues, managers, former managers, and my team. They're the folks, they know their area of expertise. My team often brings ideas to me but this is what other people are doing, we should try this, before I ever ask, right? And so I'd say those are the two biggest ones. And of course, I'll go research things here and there as well, but the top one is more people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think you and I have had many a debate and a discussion, about specific marketing activities and strategies, whether that's account-based or content, or optimization and experiments. So, I think for me, it's a similar thing, obviously talking to your peers. I've worked with some great marketers, especially such as yourself, Larissa, and you're the go-to people that I talk to. Outside of that, personally, I love podcasts. I think they're great, especially if you're walking. And obviously, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good to kind of hear what other people are going through, which is why I think this Radically Transparent podcast is helpful for listeners. Okay, so I have a final question for you, Larissa. This is obviously a very important question. With social media being such a big part of our world in B2B marketing, what is not on your LinkedIn profile, perhaps not on Google, that you can tell us about yourself?
Well, I guess you could dig it up on Twitter, but even then it's not totally as public there. So during COVID and lockdown, we used to go to dinners, cocktail every now, we just used to socialize and do all that all the time. And I just missed, I missed good food that some of them and just sort of meeting up with friends and cocktailing. So one, I definitely started cooking more, which I didn't historically do. I definitely ate out more than I cooked in. And then I started making cocktails. So I took a couple of cocktail classes. I took an online bartender class, and I sort of call myself an amateur mixologist, I would say. Started an Instagram for my cocktails even. So yeah.
Okay, you need to plug that Instagram account because I need to check that out.
Well, I haven't been posting too much. I've been kind of lightening up on the cocktails, but it's called Cocktail Calling, cocktail_calling. Okay. And it's a mix of ones I've made. It's a mix of ones I've, have
enjoyed.
Exactly. So anyway, feel free to check it out.
Sounds great. I'm going to check that out. And obviously, when we get to travel again and I can come and visit you, or you can come and stay with me, I'm sure we can get the cocktail making kits out and you can show me your amazing new skills.
I can't wait. I'm seeing you in person. I can't wait till we can visit live again.
Indeed. Well, listen, thank you so much, Larissa. It's been fantastic to have you on the show. I appreciate all of your answers and patience with my questions. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thank you. And thanks again for having me. It's been great.
Of course.
Thanks for tuning in to the Radically Transparent podcast, brought to you by Oktopost, the only social media management and employee advocacy platform architected for B2B. I'm Jennifer Gutman, your host and director of social strategy here at Oktopost. And if you love today's show, we'd love if you subscribe, rate, and give a raving review wherever you get your podcasts. For more discussion on B2B social media marketing, be sure to follow Oktopost on LinkedIn. And of course, to gain access to all our free social media marketing and employee advocacy resources, head on over to our website, www.oktopost.com. Until next time.